Right, good afternoon. I'm sorry you don't get to see my face at the moment because I accidentally broke a cable on a camera, so that was the one I was going to use for the introductions, but so I'm down to two cameras. Thank you all for coming in. I'll get Jay to run through the list in a minute, and we'll get that out of the way first, and then I'll show you what I'm doing for the night. So go for it, Jay.
All right, got Tommy, Mark, Pat, Dr. Bob, Jennifer, Terry. Let's see. Let's make sure I'm not forgetting anyone. Anthony. How you going, everyone? Thanks for coming in. Chris, how you going?
Was that
Sorry
Anthony? Was that Anthony Orificeau?
Not sure.
Anthony Burgess.
Oh, right, okay. Right, no worries. Okay, now as the thing at the bottom says, real big turning tonight. Well, for part of it anyway. I'll just swap the camera over, why don't
Robert Dolman's just joined.
G'day, Robert. We're turning some light pools. I just finished an order for 100 of them for one of the lighting companies here that puts them on fans and things like that. And
Neil's just come in.
And curtains. G'day, Neil. Two designs. That's one of them. And a thistle for the other one. So I'll do them in a minute.
Rob CP's just come in.
G'day, Rob. How are you? When you've only got a couple to do, you've got to drill a hole right through them. And Mark has a good explanation, actually. Mark, the gentleman wood turner, on one of his lives just a little while ago. A 1/4 inch hole right through and a 10mm hole in the other end I put in so that they can get the cord and the knot up in there. And we also do we used to do another sort years and years ago for the same company that it actually went on they used to fray the end of that so that underneath that they had a tassel. They had a tassel.
Lawrence has just come in.
They had a tassel that came down underneath. So if you're only doing one or two, Mark's idea is great to do them on lathe. If you've got 100 of the things to do, just cut a piece out of a piece of wood like this so that you can sit it in there and put it on the drill press and just drill the holes through on the drill press. It's much easier. Oh. Now, I actually have a step drill that goes from 1/4 inch to 10mm, so I can drill a hole all in one, just straight down from the top like this. Puts a 1/4 inch hole right through, and then the 10mm on the edge of it there. Makes it a lot quicker and easier. Now to drive them, we just use 2 cone centers. It's about the only time that I'll ever use a 60-degree cone. That's a dead center in the headstock, naturally, so as it turns, and a live cone center in the tailstock. And it's just driven by friction.
Robbo, do you put the big end on the drive end or the small end on the drive end, or doesn't it matter?
It doesn't really matter, but I prefer to put the big end on the tailstock end, just because I find it easier the way that I work to get the shape into it, that's all. Best part about this is you only need one tool for it.
The skew?
Yep. I'll put my safety glasses on. Now, folks, if you've got a question or anything, same as all the others, just put a series of question marks or a couple of Qs in there. Now I use this cone here as a guide for the thickness of them. Now, this is the easy one. Fortunately, I don't have to polish these or anything, but I will polish one. I'll polish the next one.
Wayne Woodturner's just come in.
G'day, Wayne.
Now that
320
Wayne's
grit.
here, Robbo.
Sorry.
Now that Wayne's here, I'll just ask a question on behalf of. Are these going to look anything like Steve from SK Crafts light pools?
Sorry.
SK Crafts has just come in.
Oh. And these are just sanded straight to 320 grit.
And Mole Valley Maker has just come in, and Justin's just come in.
That's the first one out of the way.
Mole Valley's Dave.
Okay.
Yeah. G'day, Dave.
So, question from Robocop. Why did Robo start roughing the blank round with a planing cut instead of a peeling cut, please?
Because on small stuff, it's a lot quicker. Like, and you end up with a good surface straight off the bat. Just to show you, I'll turn it off, wait on. You end up with a good surface already. Now I'll do a peeling cut and you'll see the difference. That's elm, by the way, this timber. As you can see, it's pretty well torn all over the joint. So it's just quicker to do it straight off a planing cut. I very rarely use a peeling cut for roughing down. Now, because these are cut on a drop saw, the ends are perfectly parallel. So I don't need to do anything to the ends of them once they're done.
Michael has just come in. Darren Kelly has come in.
Now that's too long for the thistle, so I'll just chop it back a little bit. I find it's easier to cut all the blanks at the same size than try and muck about doing them otherwise. Right, now this one I'll polish. Now this is going to be the first argument of the night.
I'll just grab me popcorn.
This product is called Triple E. It is an abrasive paste that we've had in Australia now for 30 years. Now abrasive paste has been around since the first Egyptians put the pyramids up because they had to polish the marble and everything. But this was the original paste that was made for wood turners. And I always use a cloth. I don't use paper towel because cloth holds the abrasive much better or any finishes, it holds it a lot better. And it also, if you hold it properly, it doesn't get dragged in. Paper towel, I've found in a lot of cases, tends to leave little bits of white flecks in things. Now, if you wrap the cloth around your fingers like this, you're asking for trouble. Just hold it with your thumb and your forefinger. And my argument is that this sandpaper is cloth backed. People use steel wool on the lathe. People use Wybrax pads on the lathe. So what's the difference between that and a pad and a cloth? Right. Now, the same rules apply to Triple E as it does to Yorkshire Grit. You've got to use a clean piece of cloth every now and again until no colour comes off on it.
Darren's just come in the room.
There's no colour on that, so we're right to put the glow on now, the friction polish. Now, if you're using glow or any friction polish, always shake the bottle, even between coats, because what happens is the polish separates out from it. Now, this is the one I used previously to do some of the others for the company that I did it to. You only need about a fingernail full on. Apply it while the lathe's stopped. And as fast as you can get it, with as much pressure as you can get it.
So Anthony Burgess has just put a question mark, Shellawax cream. They're almost the same product, aren't they, Robbo?
Yes, yeah, Shellawax cream just it tends to stay wetter longer if you, I know that sounds strange, but it's applied exactly the same way. The secret with Shellawax cream is do not put too much on or you'll spend forever trying to get lines out of it. Right, now I'll just amputate this one. And there's our second one. All polished. Fortunately, I didn't have to polish the other ones. It was just they actually dipped them in lacquer. So that was a bit of a saving. Okay, now change of pace. This is sort of a muck about day tonight. And you might get a few ideas for stuff for markets and things like that as well that are good sellers, that don't take very long to make, and you can use a lot of the scraps up.
Karen Dolman has just come in.
Good day, Karen, how are you? Now these are bag handles. I don't know how many hundreds of these I've sold, but they are great for string bags, plastic bags, anything that needs a little bit of a handle on to save your hands. And if you've got a folk artist in the family as well, they're quite attractive gifts when they're painted up.
Paul just come in.
So just bear with me a minute. I've got to crank the speed up on this. It's too slow. Somebody's moved my handle. Where the hell have they put it?
It's over there.
Yeah.
Just talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
It's behind that.
That sounds better. Now the timber is just 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Again, what I do is take it down to the size of the tailstock centre. That gives me the idea of the size. They don't have to be real accurate. So you come in here about 1/4 inch. Give yourself clearance. Come in 1 inch. Again, give yourself clearance for the chisel to go down into. 1/4 inch or so from the other end. The blank is about 6 inches long. Put a cove on each, a bead at least on each end.
Amy's just come in.
Run this down. You can either curve it from there or just run it straight down. Doesn't matter much.
And Adam's just come in as well.
Now, it doesn't matter if you've got a little bit of a flat in the middle, because that's going to come out in a minute. Half-inch spindle gouge. And just put a cove in each end. So the plastic bag can hang onto it. It's actually not bad for using up pen blanks. It's about the only use for them. And again, I just sand them at about 180. 240 will do. What you got to make sure is that you take the sharp edges off here. Just dull them over a little bit so they don't cut. I'll be back in a second. I just forgot something. And the quickest finish is just a wax stick. Just apply it straight onto it. Makes it smell nice. Makes it look nice. And again, just polish it off with a cloth.
So Robocop has a comment. Correction, Robbo. Pen blanks are good for finials too.
Oh yeah, they're good finial material. Now when you're cutting these off, always come from the tailstock end first, because even if it breaks, particularly if you're using stem centers, it just pops itself into there. Flip that one off.
And Darren's commented that wax also gives a good grip.
Yeah, makes it feel nice too. And then on with the next one. Now, if you feel uncomfortable with the lathe running, don't do it. I've been doing it for 40 years, so. To get my inch mark, I just use the scooter line. I know this is an inch wide. You just line up this edge with that, nick it with a long point, and away you go.
Benjamin's just come in. And Andy also.
Now you notice when I'm using the gouge, I work from each side. You cannot come uphill or you'll just rip everything out of it. Just even that up a bit.
So, question from Neil, Robbo. As a matter of interest, why part off at all? Who cares if you have stem centre marks at the end?
Well, that's true, but you can't. So you can't get the round over down if you've got step centers in the end of it. You could leave them flat, I suppose, but got to have a little bit of style.
There you go, Neil. So the answer is you got to have a bit of style.
Now, see how that parted off there? That's This is actually stopped here, but it's still rotating it. So I can get this one down in there.
So is that because that little pinprick in the middle's a spring-loaded one, Robbo?
Yep. That's another thing. Steb weren't the first to have spring-loaded ones. Spring-loaded centres. Used to be a place in Geelong, across the bay from us, that made them as well.
You got 33 watching at the moment.
Oh. Yeah, tiny Stebs would do the same thing, yep. Right. So there's another idea for you if you want to do market stuff or something. As you can see, they don't take very, very long to do. So, right, now a bit of change of pace.
So SK is heading off.
Sorry.
Steve from SK is heading off to cut his grass.
Oh, right. No worries. All right, see you later, Steve. Thank you.
See you, Steve.
Now, I've said it 100 times before, but I'll say it again. The way I put chucks on is that I open up the jaws, put your thumb on the inside there and hold your T-bar or whatever in there and tighten it up. And you'll always get it undone.
Now, Ben Jammin's just made a comment. Crikey, they're all Australian.
I'm just waiting for what Ben's going to have to say. He's probably having to work out what to say to the Antipodeans, you know.
He's
Us
trying to learn
colonials.
our language, I think.
Yeah, it may be. Always remove the tailstock centre out of the quill, otherwise it destroys elbows. Now another little entertaining thing is tops. Come on, you mongrel.
You're out of practice, Robbo.
Yeah, it's actually a new chisel and I haven't trained it yet.
Still running it in.
That's got it.
Mm.
Now the idea is that you spin this one, you got to get the next one done before it stops spinning.
Oh, can we see we need to see the other one. We need
Sorry?
to be able to see the other. We need to be able to see the other one spinning.
Now, I use a bowl. Funnily enough, I use a bowl gouge for that. For the simple reason I can get such a long wing back here. Wait on, get it in the camera. I can get a long wing all the way down here so that I can actually just cut straight down.
Which answered Justin's question straight up. And Darren had a question, how many gazillion of these have you made?
I've lost count. And you can use it like a skew down in there.
Nope.
And you should be able to see the finish straight off the tool if you're cutting it properly. And you can do fancy stuff on the top if you want to.
Neil
All
said
right.
he saw that.
Yeah. It's got a little tit on it.
I think he was talking about the little tiny catch you had at the top.
Oh, yeah, it just wanted to flick out. There's a big knot down in there. You can see where all the grain's torn on the timber. I like using these jaws for that sort of work. I don't know what they're called. They're a Technitool jaw, but they give a good hold on the timber. Let's see, what else can we do? No, I won't worry about that. All right.
We've been going for 32 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I just looked over at the clock and I thought, God, what am I going to do?
Now stop and repeat.
Yeah.
Can you do them all in reverse now?
Yeah, the shark jaws on the Vic Mark chucks are good, and the long jaws on the Technitool ones are good too. So, all right. Just got to remember where I put something, that's all.
I think it's just pine, Michael.
Yeah, that was...
Barry's
Yeah,
just
that-
come in.
Yeah, that was pine, Michael, that I did those tops with. They're just scrap bits of timber that I have lying around. What we used to use was all the offcuts off balusters because they're 42 by 42 and that's a good size for a little spinning top or whatever. And to answer, I think it was Rob CP asked, is it faster than skew turning tops? Yes, much faster, even in my hands.
Can
I think
can you maybe just zoom back one?
Yeah, I will in a second.
I think the jaws you were using are called spigot jaws. I just had a look on the Carbotech page.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I've forgotten what they're called.
Neil just put a comment in when you said you were doing light pulls. He's thought to himself that only fills in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, it was fairly close. Right. Now I'm going to do something that I very rarely, that I don't do much of, and that's bowls. A bowl. So now I tend to put, particularly when it's a narrow piece like this, it's only 2 inches thick, I put a glue block on the back here. So I'll just change cameras. You might be able to see it on the other one as well.
Keith
Better.
has just come in.
G'day, Keith. How are you? I tend to use glue blocks a lot for doing bowls because I can do the whole lot virtually in one hit without having to alter things around all the time. So now this is on a screw chuck, and it's a 1/4 inch, not the normal worm screws that you get with chucks these days. This is a proper Glacier thread, and there'll be a few there. Andy H will know what I'm talking about, probably. So will Keith, definitely, and Wayne will definitely know what I'm talking about. It came out with a Precision 6-in-1 chuck 40 odd years ago, and man, it is the best screw chuck that I've ever met. I've never broken one. A lot of people have, even though it's 1/4 inch, and half the reason is that they don't get a flat surface when they're putting it onto the thing. Now, I have no qualms about turning square boards. I don't worry about cutting them out on the bandsaw in a lot of cases. So I work a little bit differently than everybody else. I do not work from...
So Darren's got a question.
Yeah, I don't come in from this edge. I always come from this face here and come in so that the grain's always supported. So it's just PVA, Darren. Actually, I use Aquadeer.
Oh, promotional.
Now I'm using a 1/2 inch bowl gouge with a swept back grind on it. Liam O'Neill grind. Just get rid of this bit here first. Switch the light off. Move the tool rest around. Now, we're on the
Can
overhead
you zoom
camera.
back at all, Robbo?
Can't see it.
Oh, it zoomed right out. Wait on.
Just go to the other camera.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll pick it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I might zoom it in a little bit. Whoops.
There we go.
Now, I have the flute facing the direction of cut. I'm cutting. Where are we? I can't get it.
Must have pulled back a
Up
little bit.
higher. Right under the...
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm cutting on this wing here. And virtually I'm using the whole wing to cut. I don't muck about.
Oh, hang on. Just wait for a sec, Robbo.
Why?
It's out of focus.
Oh,
mate.
The camera's gone out of focus. Just flick back to the other camera and then back to that one again for a
Yeah.
sec. Nah, turn your lathe off and do it, I think.
yeah. Come on. It should be
Wave
on
your
auto.
hand in front of it or something. Oh,
Should be on.
oh
There
there we
she goes.
go.
Right.
Yay.
Now I have a question for the English wood turners here, and I must admit it is a little bit of a bugbear of mine. Most of your lathes over there now have remote switches, so you can put the switch wherever you want it on the lathe. Why do you keep leaving it on the headstock instead of moving it down to the tailstock? So you've got to walk past. It came up in Steve's live yesterday, and he Colin actually reminded me, where if he hadn't been leaning over a little bit, he'd have lost half his face, because he had to reach past where the thing was exploding to turn it off. So I'm just curious as to why you don't move the remote down to the end of the lathe, so you just have to use your right hand
Yep,
to
he's
turn
just
it on
come
and
in.
off. Yeah, good day, Yappy.
Yappy.
Good, that's good, Adam. I love it. I don't know why more people don't do it. Now, this bowl, I've just seen a great crack in it. That's why I haven't done it before. But anyway, right. Now, like I say, I use the whole wing.
Mark's just commented he moves his remote all over the shop, so much so that he forgets where he's put it sometimes.
Yeah, I have that problem sometimes. I put things down, I don't know where I put them.
And Neil's just commented about someone roughing down with a spindle roughing gouge. If anyone wants to have a look at one of Robbo's other channel videos.
Now, I start shaping the bowl from now. I don't worry that it's not completely round at there, but I'll start bringing it up to the bottom. I wonder if that other camera will pick that up now.
Yeah, just.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Now, I'm not having a crack at anybody here, but all learner turners normally make a bowl that looks like this.
You stalling that lathe, Robbo?
Sorry?
Are you stalling that lathe? It almost looks like it's slowing down.
Yeah, I did. I stall all except my big ones. This is what we call a brake drum or a dog bowl. It's got no style at all. People seem to think that if they buy a bit of timber, they've got to try and get the most out of it that they can, so they don't waste money. The next progression is generally this. They start getting a little bit round, right? And it's starting to get a little bit of shape into it. Now, years ago, the rage was this. A whole series of beads up the side of it. G'day, Pat, how are you? How you enjoying lockdown, son? Pat lives in New South Wales,
Oh, dear.
in Wollongong, which is a red zone. Sorry, Pat, can't help it. Everybody hung it on us. Then the next progression is you start getting an OG.
So I've got a couple of comments. Robbo, Ben says it's funny that beginners make the dog bowl style because it's also much harder to hollow out. And
Yeah.
Mark says you're showing off rolling beads.
And then of course there's the OG. So you can just come straight up there like this. And then roll the top over. Just narrow it in a little bit there. Now, I always just use the bowl gouge itself to finish it off. I never ever, once I've used the gouge, I never go back to a scraper because a scraper just tears it up. If you do a shear cut down it, you might get little lines in it, but there won't be any tear out in it. Then you just sand that off. Right. Just haven't been going an hour yet. Right, get rid of that centre hub a little bit. Now, you'll also notice that most of the time I'm putting the pressure towards the headstock. That's the strongest part of the lathe. So just keep working towards the headstock all the time. Because basically you're forcing the timber onto the chuck and everything else if you've got a chuck holding it. So I just got to go and get another chuck. I forgot to bring it out.
Just talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
I think he's just doing this to fill in a bit of time so it lasts a bit longer. What do you reckon, Jay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark, that was I thoroughly enjoyed Colin thingos last night on Steve's Live. He's a kindred spirit. He doesn't like pens or carbides either. I like the man.
Brian has just come in too, Robbo.
Brian, which Brian? Oh,
Heartwood Turning, I think.
yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, sorry.
Brian Oosby, I think it is, isn't it?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. The horse whisperer.
If he's not getting into trouble for buying stuff for his lathe, he's getting into trouble for buying stuff for his horses.
Well, this is right. Yeah. Both poverty bloody pits. All you got to do now is get the trifecta, Brian, and buy a boat.
Then you'd be right. Boat's just a hole in the water to throw money into, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, a motorhome's got a slot in the top. No,
So
well,
Chris Dodds just said, "G'day, Brian. You didn't know that you knew this many people."
Yeah, he's it's not Brian, it's bloody Mark. He keeps spending his money for him. Right, so Fred. Now,
The most impressive thing about Brian's turning sessions, in my opinion, is, and I think I'm talking of the right one, is the way that he gets cups of tea and chocky biscuits left outside the door.
yeah. I'm just wondering if... Oh, I know what it is. She can't open the door with both hands full.
Ah.
Right. Okay, now. Another chuck. I normally don't hold many things on the standard jaws of chucks because I find them a bit too small for some things. So I always tend to go a little bit bigger because I turn the bottoms off afterwards anyway, and it's easy enough to just continue the curve and that down. The same as I never ever finish a bowl when it's like this. I wait until I turn it around because invariably a lot of the time you get a little bit of wobble in there and you've got to turn off what you've virtually finished anyway. So, right, that needs an eighth of an inch off it.
So Brian's just said, Robbo, there's a bolt on the inside to keep him out.
Oh, right.
And Mark said he only spends Brian's money when he tells him to.
Yeah. No, so you've got the secret knock and handshake, have you, Brian, to get in? Oh, we won't use that one as blunt. Now, another little trick, if you're not quite used to all your chucks and things, is always try your chuck before you take it off. I love to tell you, mama. Right, just put a square shoulder on that for it to seat. That'll do it.
Ben's asking a question. He wants to know how many chucks you've got, Robbo.
23, I think.
So you've got more chucks than lathes then, just.
Yes.
So, and Justin almost answered that right. He said all of them, Ben.
No, they've been collected over the years. there's a lot of chucks that I don't use. I've got chucks from the 1980s, precision combination chucks, and trying to think of another popular English one. It had that many attachment and accessories that you could sink a battleship with it. It starts
Mark's
with an M.
leaving now. Sorry,
Starts with an
Mark's leaving.
I'll catch you later, Mark. Thanks for coming in. Right, now, just while you're here, Brian, just hold on a second. I've just got to get myself organised here. Right, tailstock center in. Dry spur, where do I put it? Down here. Longer tool rest in. Just bear with me half a second.
Brian said, take your time. He's got nowhere else to be, Robbo.
Right.
And Darren's got, could you please show us an end-grain scoop using the back hollowing method? I know it has to be cut in the bandsaw. He doesn't need to do that bit.
Yeah, all right, I can, yeah. Right. Now, Brian, you had a shape. I'll just roughly shape it with a roughing gouge first. In that vase the other night, it came down. Roughly like that. And you're having catches.
That roughing gouge might disappear when I come to visit.
Now you're having a catch on this one here. This is all the pressure you need on a skew chisel. Now the reason you're getting a catch there, and I'll switch the lathe off to do it, and unfortunately I haven't got a camera that comes out this way, but you can see the blade here. You were bringing it around to there, and it's got no option to be like the rest of the world, where 50% is looking for support, all right? So always make sure you keep that bevel in. And the same when you're coming through here. Now you stop about there and then come back the other way. Now I'll just add something onto this. Got to have a foot, Brian.
You've just gone over an hour, Robbo.
Right. So I hope that helped you, Brian.
Justin wants to know if you're going to put a lid on it.
No, it's actually a solid piece of timber. It's
Yeah.
And Baz from Real Simple Things has just joined.
yeah. G'day, Barry. How are you? Right now, a scoop. Okay, just hold on a second. I've got to get another bit of timber from somewhere. Oh, just make a mini one. All right.
Brian said perfect demo of that, Robbo. He'll play it on repeat until he gets it.
Yeah, and look, I've got
And thank you. Yeah.
I've got an 8-part series up actually on YouTube on just the skew tool. It's 12 hours long, but it's divided into bits and pieces with how everything works, so you can pick and choose what you want to do with it. Jay might put a link in there if you...
Yeah. On it already.
I knew I could rely on you. All right. A scoop. Sorry, I just haven't got the... Hold on, I'll have to go and get some timber for it.
You got it, Jay?
Yeah.
No worries.
This is Robbo's channel that has all his educational videos. And I will grab. This is the first part. This link coming up will be the first part to his skew videos, and there are part A's and part B's. So just pay attention when you go to watch one, and because you may actually skip one by mistake.
Yeah, there's 5, 5A, 5B, 5C.
Yeah.
And there's also on that channel is the one that Darren was talking about earlier, the reason why you don't use a spindle roughing gouge to turn a bowl.
Sorry, what's that?
Just talking about your demonstration on why you don't use a spindle roughing gouge to turn a bowl on that other channel as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that. Got your heater on?
Yeah, I have. I'm starting to get a bit too hot, actually. This actually is the sort of live I like doing, where people ask to do something rather than me just making something. So if you want to know something, just ask. I could have made that a bit bigger, I think, but anyway, we'll see how it goes.
So Robocop's just put, I'm confused as to when to use the skew instead of a bowl gouge.
Right. Easy. When the grain runs this way, you can use either a bowl gouge or a skew chisel. When the grain runs across the lathe, like this, a skew chisel is strictly verboten. Does that answer your question? Now, whenever you're using a chuck, always make sure you tighten both things. I don't want that in there. I want that out of there. Right, pack that out of there. Take the tailstock out.
And Benjamin's just said, Rob, also bowl gouges don't work very well for opening tins of polish.
No, the flutes tend to get in the way.
Do you want me to ban him or?
Okay.
So just a bit of pine again, Robbo?
Yep. Now, spindle gouge is used for doing this.
Change cameras maybe?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Was in the back of my head.
Robbo's
Now.
going to rephrase his question in a minute. Robocop is.
Rightio. Now, I like to have the tool rest down a little bit off centre so that I present the tool on a little bit of an angle rather than up horizontal. So you come in like this, into the centre. When you get into the centre, you swing the tool around. The tailstock's in the way. That's better. Right. Come into the centre, lift the tool up onto the centre and just push. Now, there's two ways of hollowing out. You can use a bowl gouge in there with a long wing on it, but what you're doing is you're using this part of the tool here, right at the tip, just off the tip where you would normally be cutting, and you just virtually pull it with these fingers here. So there's hardly any weight on this hand here. In fact, I'll lift it up so you can see. All I'm doing is just virtually supporting that. And you pull it out like that.
So Robocop's question, he's only talking about spindle turning, Robbo. Use the bowl gouge for some things and a skew for others. Is there a good reason for choosing one over the other, or just what you feel like using?
Just what you feel like using, really. Like, under normal circumstances, I always reach for a spindle gouge. Except for doing tops, I very rarely use a bowl gouge on spindle work. But I've always grown up with spindle gouges, so that's what I tend to use. Right. Now the flute is at 45 degrees facing the way you want it to cut. So, and that's all the effort it takes. Just drag it out. Now there is another way of doing it, the Richard Raffin method, but you didn't see it here. So you come down in here. Just like that. Yes, Justin, I'm using a spindle gouge on end grain.
That's a spindle gouge, not a spindle roughing gouge.
Yeah, just a normal spindle gouge. For the simple reason the bowl gouge really is too deep in the flute to get down in there properly anyway. And before bowl gouges were invented, believe it or not, they weren't on the market until 1970. Until bowl gauges came on, they used to use spindle gouges for doing all the bowls. So, now the danger with this is that when you get to there, it wants to grab. If you have not got this bevel on the back here, it will grab like nothing on earth. And this tool rest is actually too wide. I I can't get the tool down past the edge to get it in. So I'll just finish cleaning it up here. The
So
other
Ben's
thing that,
saying, I take it the Richard Raffin cut is very risky then.
oh yes, until you're shown it by somebody that knows how to do it. Like I had to virtually learn by myself until I know Richard, so he and I meet occasionally, see each other, and he actually showed me how it's done. And I nearly had it. I had it 3/4 right. It was just the final little bit. You've got to exit at least up near the 12 or around the 1 o'clock position. If you get it behind there, you are buggered. All right. Anyway, I'll just finish this off here now. I'm not going to sand it or anything. All right. Change cameras again. Get rid of a bit of garbage out of the way. Oh, that was nasty. But that's the power of that chuck. See, that hasn't even moved. Don't know what I hit. Oh well.
Amy's got to get going, Robbo.
Yeah, all right, Amy. Thank you for coming in.
See you, Amy. And Neil said he knows Richard, have been shown many times and still has troubles. And Darren said before 1 o'clock it's explosion time.
Make it a little bit fancy just for the hell of it. Now, this is another point. If you cannot get bevel support down here at the bottom of the cup, sit the chisel back up here where you can get bevel support. Sit it against there and then bring it around until you can get the bevel into place down in here.
Now Ben's off as well.
See you later, Ben.
See you, Ben.
Thank you.
So Pat said you had metal on metal.
Oh, yeah, I definitely did. I don't know where it came from, though. Normally I'd sand that before, but you can see the finish off the tool anyway.
So
There you go,
Sherlock
Justin.
Let's see what happened.
Go on, Sid.
Sherlock Justin went back and he replayed it and your tool rest moved and hit the chuck.
Yeah, don't know where it got her.
If you go, keep going, Robbo. You can, there. Is there a mark there?
No, that's bird poop.
Oh, okay.
Probably matches a lot in my pants. No, I can't see where it hit. It must have just enough to touch it. Oh, wait on. There's a strike mark there. Hadn't done any damage anyway, so. All right. Right, anybody got any questions? Oh,
Darren said thanks for showing that, Robbo.
my pleasure, Darren. Yeah. I can't see any nicks in the chuck or anything, so. One of life's little mysteries.
That's the other
I'm
one of
sure-
life's little mysteries, Robbo, is the fact that the Nova chucks turn backwards.
Yeah, well, their reasoning for that, believe it or not, is that it doesn't come undone while it's working.
Well, I believe they may have modified their thinking because from what I've read, the new model of that Nova 2 chuck turns the same way as the record chuck.
Yeah, well, no, records are made under license from Nova as far as I'm aware. And just on that small point too, if you're using the standard jaws on the record chuck or the Nova chuck, where it goes up into your tenon here, if you use a tenon, don't put a little mark there. Just leave it flat. It's got to be flat. And there's a little ridge at the nose of the jaws, and it pulls it in tight. If you read the instructions, it's quite explicit about that.
Andy H is leaving.
Couple of questions. Anthony Burgess has asked if you're going to do another live next week, and Michael, as a party, has what is the make of your lathe?
This, believe it or not, is a Technotool 3000. It was the second one to ever come into the country about 35, 40 years ago. I got it at a good price because it was going to be sent back to New Zealand because the beds like this, normally the bed finishes right here. That's actually a bed extension on there. And it didn't match up. You couldn't get the tailstock or the tool rest to slide past it. But with a little bit of judicious work with a drill and a milling cutter, I got it to fit. And this is the length I need because I used to do there's no dovetail on a Nova, not on their standard jaws. So I got it at a good price and just had to spend a few hours getting everything lined up. But it suits what I do. It's great for turning chair legs and coffee table legs on it. Just the right length. And man, it's turned thousands of them. And it's never, in 40 years, I've put one set of bearings in it. I'll catch you later, Andy. Thanks for coming in.
See you, Andy. And Anthony's question about another live next week, Robbo.
Yeah, I don't know. If people give me suggestions as to what they would like to see, yeah, I'll do a live. I don't like I've run out of ideas, and I don't want to. There's enough people turning bowls and everything on at the moment anyway.
So have you given more thought about the idea we were chatting about through the week, Robbo?
Yeah, the person that was mainly directed at didn't seem to be too interested.
Okay. I wonder if there's anyone else that might be interested in jumping into StreamYard for an online session with you.
Yeah, well, we'll ask now. I've been considering running free, that four-letter word, free, gratis, online lessons for people who want to improve their skills or perhaps for learners. So the way that it would work is like Oh, wait on. I'll bring, for those that don't know, I'll just bring the earworms back in again. Right. So what you do is you have your camera and everything set up, and you come in like that, and I'll try to guide you. G'day, Steve. I'll try to guide you over the internet what you're doing wrong, so that hopefully, well, we might all learn something and have a good laugh.
Hi, Brian.
Brian says he's in. It would probably be about this time on a Saturday night, I'd say, because I don't think there's anybody doing any lives on a Saturday.
I think Robert Hodge was doing one later on in the evening, about 10:30 our time, Robbo, but that's not going to impact on that.
No, well, that's what I figured. I figured that if anybody even started up a lunchtime live, I'd be before that anyway.
So, concept would be, Robbo, that somebody might have an idea of something and what they wanted to turn and have your guidance while they're turning it. So the idea of what they're making is theirs.
Yep.
And just we have a little discussion and live around it.
Yep.
Mike has just come in.
G'day, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Jennifer's keen as well, so we've got Justin when he gets his lathe set up. Brian's keen.
No,
So
Justin's got to get his Cat 6 out to the shed. He said he's right out in the sticks now. So he's having internet.
Yep. Sorry, I misread what he said. I thought he was the low. Yeah. I'm going to drop past tomorrow, Justin.
Funny, I was going to say exactly the same thing. I know where you live. I'll find you.
Terry Bartlett, thanks for the live, Robbo. Great info for all turners, and we're doing my tutors course later this year once we're all clear, postponed from the last year epoxy COVID.
Yeah, man, it is. Well, it's cost me a bit of money because I had to cancel all my demonstrations and all my tuition and everything for the year, for 2 years now.
So Robocop's asked if you could make him a faster turner.
Sorry?
Robocop's asked if you could make him a faster turner, and he would like to learn to use a skew to turn a bead.
Yeah. No, as you were told last night, or early this morning for me, speed comes with practice. No, sorry, speed comes with confidence. Confidence comes with practice. And that's about all you can say. And it's just standing in the lathe, virtually destroying timber. Like, get the cheapest timber you can find and make sawdust.
Dr. Bob said, breakfast time live, the best time for learning. Thanks for starting his day off.
Oh, my pleasure, Bob. As long as I didn't give you indigestion. Poor, geez, that heater's working well. It's up to 25 degrees in the shed at the moment.
Yeah, you'll be stripping down in a minute, Robbo.
Oh, it might be. Fortunately, the cameras aren't facing my way.
Yeah, well, I don't know about Jay, but when you said you were bringing us back in, I had to rush off and get dressed.
Oh, well, sorry, I'll give you prior warning next time.
Where are we? Darren, if you can get one-on-one lessons with Robbo, do so. It'll make you a much better turner. Best money he's ever spent.
Thank you, Darren.
Now, Darren's only just across a little bit of water from Robbo almost, isn't he?
Yeah, I could. It's actually funny. You can just about spit across there, but it takes you 2 hours to get there by car. Got to go the long way round.
Brian's just said 20 degrees in his shed and the door's open. So they'll be sweltering there in Ireland at 20 degrees, wouldn't they?
Oh man, they're probably down. They're probably down to bikinis, mate, and got the hose running in the backyard with sprinklers going to run underneath. You know.
Chris has just said it could be time to go if Robbo strips down.
Oh, you're telling me. It ain't a pretty sight. I couldn't stand the laughter.
So Dr. Bob's just said there's something wrong here. He ends his day with Jay, and now he starts a day off with you two.
Yeah.
Well, Darren said 10 kilometres as the crow flies, 100 kilometres by road.
Yeah, that's right. Just about. Well, if the tide was in, it'd probably be quicker to get there by boat than it would drive around, particularly on New Year's Day or public holidays.
Or when the Grand Prix on.
Oh, yeah, or when the Grand Prix on, that's it too.
Justin's been casting aspersions on the warm English beer. I'm not going to repeat his comments in case I get banned from some of the Pommy Lives.
Yeah.
So how you going there, Robbo?
Yeah, I think I've just about an hour and a half. That's.
Yep. Well,
And I've
Jennifer's got to
covered
go. Thanks for a great live.
Yeah, see you later, Jennifer. And yes, I'll probably be posting something up in Facebook or something along the lines of what I want to do. So I'll keep you informed anyway.
You could be starting a trend, Robbo.
Could be. Well, I know there's a thanks, Barry.
See you, Barry. Thanks for coming. Darren's checked Google Maps. It's 80 Ks.
Yeah, it's 80k by road, I know. Yeah, no, there's a lot of there's a lot of blokes doing them on Zoom and that and charging a fortune for it, but oh, bugger it, I'm 71 years old. I want to give something back these days.
It's paying it forward, Robbo.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Dolman's got to go. So got to go, old Robbo and Aussies. Thanks for a great live.
No worries, thank
thanks
you,
for
Rob.
a great live. Somebody must have started. Everyone's leaving.
Yeah, now Neil's calling me a bloody horse.
Well done, Mayor. Catch you later. All the others, Joe and Sid, you did really well tonight. Modding. There wasn't a single question you missed that I saw. That's a change.
Yeah.
I might have been a bit slow on a couple of them, I think, but we got them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Karen.
And Keith just commented he's 71 and that's why he started lives. Thanks, Karen. Robocop just had to give 2 kids £2.50 to wash the car, or give them the money and said they don't have to wash the car because I'm impressed with them.
Yeah. I think he means not impressed with
Oh,
them.
no, sorry. He just had 2 kids asking to wash the car for £2.50.
Yeah.
Impressed with the fact they're looking to earn the money, not be given it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I must admit, I used to do things around the house to do. Well, we were given a shilling a week. How's that? And we could earn another shilling by doing various things around the place.
So, Dave, is it? Moa Valley's off.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you later, Dave. Thanks
See
for
you,
coming
Dave.
in.
Thanks for coming in. Yep.
Yeah, sorry, Rob. I misinterpreted what you were saying.
Yeah, I much prefer being behind the lathe than sorry. I don't mind doing the earworm inside, but I much prefer being behind the lathe.
What's a shilling? One bob, 2 Zacks, 4 trays.
I don't know whether I've still got it, but my first bank book actually had 5 shillings in it.
Yeah. But when I started my apprenticeship, it was I was on £4.8 shillings a week, and then it changed over to decimal currency in the first year of my apprenticeship, and we got a pay increase to $12.50, which was £6. But the funny part about it was that I could afford to buy a yearly ticket with that, or a monthly ticket on the railway, pay half of it to mum for board, and still have enough left over to have a very good time.
Yep.
I think I was 2 when decimal currency come in.
Oh, you're a youngie.
Yeah, only a pup.
Yeah. 1965. 14th of February 1965. Or was it 1966? No, it must have been 65, I think.
No, it must have been 66, Robbo, because I was born in April of 65.
Oh, yeah,
and I had
right.
I had 5 shillings put in by the state government. Used to open a little bank account for all new births.
Yeah, that's right, at the Commonwealth Bank.
State bank for us. Bank of South Australia, the one that went broke. Must have been when I took my 5 shillings out. It ruined them.
Oh, Chris Dodd said 1966. Yeah, well, that'll be right. That was the second year of my apprenticeship. So,
Robocops just said, I need to turn a miniature finial out of acrylic. He's broken 3 already, but he'll get there.
yeah, you will.
Radar, the wood turner's ducked in at the end to say hello.
Yeah, good day, Radar. How are you? Sorry, Dan, isn't it? Dan?
How you going, Radar? No, it's Anthony.
Ah.
Pretty sure.
So, Chris, was it easier to understand the accents tonight, was it?
Yeah, Anthony for Radar.
Oh, good day, Lawrence. How are you? Oh, all right. Well, I might knock it on the head then. Oh, we've still got 21 in, so if people are still interested in yakking, I got nothing better to do at the moment. So.
Who else said that earlier tonight? Brian said he had nowhere else to be, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Chris said no whacking furries.
Yeah, I saw that. I ignored that.
I chose to just laugh.
Yeah, I know. I knew what you were laughing at.
Brian said we're easy to understand.
Oh, that's good.
You bloody right, Cobber.
No worries. It's pity Shirley's not here, Brian. I could introduce you to her.
G'day.
Stops and listens every time you're talking.
All right, Keith, I'll see you on your next live, probably to annoy you again, unless I get kicked out.
See you, Keith.
Was that question directed at me, Bob, or not?
What did I miss you?
What started you in turning?
Oh, only just popped up. That's why I hadn't seen it yet. You're looking at the the StreamYard chat, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I had a big mechanical repair workshop that had metal lathes and like we were a motor mechanic business, but we used to do a lot of machining because we built high-end engines for racing cars and rally cars and various other things, and we needed machining capabilities because some of the tolerances on some of the fitters and turners, I think they use a calendar to measure things. And anyway, I just purloined one of the metal turning lathes and just turned up bits and pieces on it. But I used to install generators and low voltage circuits on and solar panels on yachts at the bloke next door, and he migrated from England in the 1950s after the Second World War, and he always had a thing in the back of his factory covered by a big army tarp, one of those big army grey canvas tarps. And I said to him one day, I said, geez, Stump, what's underneath the tarp? He said, past life. And I said, oh yeah, what do you mean? He said, well, when I migrated out there, he said, I was a furniture maker in England. He said, I worked in the factory, like in the thing. Am I still there? Yeah, oh yeah.
Yep.
He said, but when I got out here, he said, they were all switching over to auto lathes and everything, and I couldn't get a job, so I took up my hobby as my living, which was building boats. And he used to build ocean racing yachts. And I said, I'm doing wood turning as a hobby. He said, I've always wanted to learn metalwork, how to weld and how to machine metal stuff and all that. And I said, all right. I said, well, how about 1 week, 3 nights a week, I come over here, you teach me wood turning. The other 2, I'll teach you. The alternate week, I'll teach you metalwork on the 3 nights, and you can teach me wood turning on the 2. So I used to spend 12 or 8 hours over at his place. So he'd spend 12 or 8 hours over at our place, learning machining and metalwork and how to weld and all that sort of thing. And quite often the employees didn't know who was who the boss was. So we did that for 6 years basically. So I did an apprenticeship just about, I reckon, although I don't have the bit of paper to prove it. But 42 hours I spent on doing nothing but beads and coves. So he said, sorry?
Looks like Chris is heading off.
Yeah. No worries. See you later, Chris.
Thanks,
Thank you
Chris.
for coming in.
See you, Chris.
And
Yeah, so
Brian said
that's-
he spent some time with the first Aussie Rifles in Townsville and jungle training.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, they're wild boys up there. They'd rather drink than fight.
Justin's off too. Thanks,
Yeah,
Justin.
good night, Justin.
See you, Justin.
Robocop's got a question.
No. Well, I'll qualify that. They won't hold an edge for very long. That's the problem. You got to remember that in about 3 minutes, there's a mile of timber coming underneath the cutting edge. So
That's a lot of timber when you think about it, Robbo.
yep. No, I must admit, if somebody dragged me along on my bum, I'd be sore after a mile too, I think.
RoboCop.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I know what he's on about. Yeah, for that sort of work, it's mainly scraping, that sort of stuff. But yeah, you're probably better off actually just modifying a scraper or something to do it. Or what does work sometimes is dental picks. If you know a dentist, if you're on good terms with them, quite often they have to renew all their dental picks and everything, and you can make some interesting things out of some of the little things in them. And they're top end stainless. No, I'm like Colwyn last night, who said about Chinese balls and things. They just don't interest me. Same as I've only ever turned to hollow forms. I'm not interested in hollow forms. Where about you, Anthony? Got an idea you're in the southern states of America somewhere.
Yeah, it was your tool rest that hit the chuck.
Oh, that's what you've been looking at.
Yeah. It every time you took a cut, it moved in about that much.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was Tennessee, but I wasn't quite sure. I didn't want to insult you.
RoboCops, there are definitely so many different types of turning. Not all is appealing to everyone.
Yeah, well, that's right. Like, I've got a friend we quite often, excuse me, we quite often do demonstrations together, and he doesn't use any measurements or anything, but he'll turn something 2 feet in diameter and 3 feet high, and get the wall thickness 2 millimeters thick all the way down through a 1 inch hole. You know, that's his. That's what he's in. That's what he loves doing. So. Paul Barton, bloody brilliant. He only uses about 2 tools. Oh, well, so do I most of the time. Yeah, well, that's the whole point. You like things come and go in fashions, like Darren was saying, and yeah, you've at least got to try it. Like, I'm over all that garbage. Give me a good spindle to turn and I'm very happy.
So the internet went really well for this live, Robbo. I said would be the first live you've done on this internet. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. They had one section where it paused for a second or two, but I don't know if that was your internet or mine.
Yeah.
I didn't see any pauses at all, so.
There you go. So it was just mine, but yeah, no, much better for streaming.
Yeah,
Good.
that's been really good.
No, like, yeah, you're right, Rob. Segmental turning. I'm not into segmental turning, but for some of our big stuff, we have to do it. We have to laminate and segment. Like, we did a 5-foot table base, and that had to be all segmented up out of walnut, but the segments were a foot across. Not your titchy little things.
Proper segments.
Yeah, real turning.
Well, no, tabletop wouldn't be spindle turning, would it?
No, this was the pedestal that went in under the base. It was,
Oh, righto.
yeah, it was like a flat base that was 5 foot in diameter. The table was 7'6". The tabletop, I turned that as well, but that's bowl turning, and it was 5'6" across, and had a 12-inch centre pedestal coming up to support the top.
So Radar's, Anthony's just put up, he's just purchased a planer and he's getting ready to make him a wedgie sled. So I'm wondering what a wedgie sled is, if Jay's thinking of the same wedgie I am.
No, the wedgie sled is something that goes on a table saw to allow you to get very accurate angles on the segments.
Oh, the one me and Sid were thinking of had underpants in it. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I'm looking at my sled over on the thing. A little secret with that Radar is do them in halves. In other words, don't try and form up the whole circle at once. Do half the circle, and then just sand the end so that you get perfect alignment. Nobody can pick a half a degree on the two halves, but if you've got them out at even half a degree, by the time you get round all the segments, you end up with a gap you can poke your finger down into.
Good trick.
That's number 110 in Robbo's little black book of cheats.
So where's this black book stashed?
Never you mind.
I'll tell you what, I'm just taking notes on what Jay reckons he's going to bring back when he comes over with me, Robbo, and I'm thinking we might have to hire a small truck. I don't know if it's going to fit in the car.
I was thinking more along the lines of a bloody B double.
That's, like, the lathe's going to fit fine, but it's all the other stuff he reckons he's going to pick up while he's there. It's got me worried.
Yeah, me too.
There's one whole thing, one whole cabinet with all the chucks in it that can just come straight off the wall.
The only thing I do know is your shed's safe because his yard's not big enough to put it in.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I bring my house and put it in there?
You'd have to go up 4 stories.
So Radar's giving you a few thumbs up on your cheat.
Yeah. Once you've done a few, you can get them very, very close, I must admit, but it's tweaking the sled itself, the thing, because it doesn't matter how well you work with the protractor. You've only got to get just a flutter in the blade when you're cutting, and it can put it out.
Pat said, good luck lifting the cabinet, Joe.
Yeah. Pat knows what I got.
He's also got a forklift. I'll just take the forklift with it.
You're bloody right on that B double, Robbo, I reckon.
Yeah, but a slow trip back to Adelaide on the fork, I tell you.
Nice trip down the hills through the tunnels on it.
Yeah. If we're going to get a B double, I'll just take the 40-footer then, eh?
Well, I can drive a semi. I can't drive a B double on my licence.
Okay. The lathe. I'll have to leave the lathe in the court. Out in the street in the court.
Set it up as a road barrier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Put it down the centre line.
Still take up half the road. Got any projects on the go, Sid, other than the three? Three legs.
That's just showing off and playing. That I thought I was watching Jigsy Shed, and he's turning everything he turns on the same as my old GMC. So I thought, well, favourite, I'll get it out again because that's what I started turning on. And I turned a few good things on that. So I just got it out and bolted it down to a bench again, and it's really good for turning spindles square stock into round.
Yeah.
And then the only trouble is, and I don't know, I might have to talk to Robbo about a cheat for it. The tail stock on it, because it's only a tubular bed and the tail stock's only got a really short foot on it.
Yeah,
it flexes a bit and moves.
It gets a nice little list to aft, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Probably, well, it depends how much you tighten it up, but at least 2 degrees.
Yeah, I'll see you later, Rob.
See you later, Rob.
See you, Rob.
What you can do, Sid, is get a couple of blocks that are the same height as the underneath of the bed.
Yeah.
A couple of wooden blocks. Now, what you do is you've got to put a bit of 1/2-inch plywood on the bottom of the blocks. So you end up with wait on, let's see if I can show you. Oh, just like this. See how that's got a bit of plywood on it?
You go to your right a
not
bit.
on full, just
Sorry,
go to
that
your
way.
right,
There.
Yeah. Yep.
Put a block like that so the bed sits just right on top of it.
Yep.
Then you screw this down to the bench so they can't move. And then you put another piece of 1/2-inch ply across the top of the bed and clamp it down. So you clamp the bed down?
Yep.
Between the two of them? That way,
Yeah.
That way you can move it wherever you like. You can have it right up against your tailstock, and that gives it a lot more support.
Yeah, that'd help, because I think some of it's the tube stock flexing and some of it's the fact that the foot of the tailstock is only 50 mil long.
Yeah, I know.
I suppose I could weld a bit onto the back of the foot of the tailstock so it had more support behind.
Yeah, what you could do is put those drag wheels they have on, like on the back of the drags to stop the dragsters from tipping over backwards.
That'd help with the speed. But I mean, for what you try and do, it's the same as everything. Like a lot of people say, they're just boat anchors. But if that's all someone can afford at the start and it gets them into turning, you can still turn some nice stuff on it.
Oh
you
yeah,
can get an adapter to put a chuck onto it.
Yeah. Well, I have adapters for all the chucks, and they're a pipe thread on those, if I remember rightly.
That one's it's a 3/4 by 16 teeth per inch.
Yeah.
So I've got a chuck on the old Havco chuck. When I had the lathe, I bought an adapter, so I just pulled my Havco chuck out and took the M30 3.5 adapter out and put the little 16 teeth per inch 3/4 one in, and I've got it on the lathe at the moment.
Yeah. Oh.
How you going, Rex? Yeah.
G'day, Rex. Put the link in, Jay. Stop playing with your wheels.
Oh,
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
How you going, Rex? So Jay Wooden Things
I'll
AU.
go grab it for you. Yeah.
I have one too, but I don't have much on it at the moment. I'm a bit slack.
Yeah, but
Sorry, my computer glitched out a little bit when you were talking then, Sid.
So I was just saying I had a YouTube channel as well, but I'm a bit slack. I've only got a few videos up on it.
Yep.
Right. I use an 8-inch grinder with a C-bend wheel on one side, using Tormek jigs and what's called a Norton Blue Max on the other side, which I freehand sharpen on a lot of the time.
Where are you from, Rex?
I tried
Nice.
freehand sharpening once.
What happened?
I bought a jig and corrected it. I reckon it might have even been that little bowl gouge that I gave you, Jay.
The one that I flogged the guts out of?
Yeah.
One that's nearly worn out.
Yep. I mean, there wasn't a lot of groove in it anyway, but there was less after I tried to sharpen it the first time. If I had to go now, I reckon now that I sort of got the mechanics of it and what it's got to do, I probably could freehand. But when you're trying to work out what you're doing without sort of seeing how the tool works when it's in a jig.
That's right. Yeah, that is actually the hardest thing for a learner to get right, is what angles to have on the tools to start off with.
Yeah.
And if you use the factory grind, you're wasting your time. Yeah,
I worked that out.
I live southeast of Melbourne, Australia, Rex. You're out. Oh, that's probably me going off, is it?
It's not me.
Yeah, no, it's probably me. Miles coming through.
So Rex is in Melbourne, Central Florida. Robbo's near Melbourne in Victoria.
Yeah.
And Jay's in Adelaide. And I'm between the two of them.
Yeah, out in the bloody sticks.
No, he's on that side though.
Yeah,
he's not in between us.
Yep.
Well, I suppose you saw that I put the notice up for Turn South Australia.
Yes, I did. Saw that.
Yeah, you're dead right about the cost. Yes, we are Aussies, Rex, and yeah, shipping from America out there, it's same as us. Shipping stuff to America is just diabolical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got lots of sticks hanging around my place. Olive,
Yes.
desert ash.
Yeah, some of them even wriggle.
Yeah, wriggle sticks as well, yeah.
One of these two needs to start a wood exporting company. A lot of money.
There's a few doing it, actually.
I don't pay some other mug.
I got given a probably about an 8-inch ironbark blank the other day. Well, that's what it's got written on it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I tried to send I think it was a 4 kilo block of red gum once. I got a price on it, and it was going to cost me. I paid $35 for the block of red gum, and it was going to cost me $120 to send it. It was like, you what? Bye.
Yeah, Pat, I can do that. I've got my eye on some olive trees because they're feral over here. I can drop some fresh greenwood off there for you. I haven't got much good quality stuff up on my shelves, but I'm going to be cutting some soon, so I'll be happy to drop a little bit off there for you.
Who are you talking to?
Pat's asked a question in the chat. Drop some olive off at Robbo's.
Yeah.
I might steal some of it, Pat. Sorry.
It'll be in the car when I get to your place anyway, Jay, so I might not get to Robbo's.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, well, Pat's coming down in September if he's allowed to.
Yeah, if the ferals can manage to stay home long enough when they're diseased.
Cocobolo.
Yeah. Nice timber. I must admit, these days I don't turn many exotics these days.
Pat said if we're not still locked in. There's a couple of the trees I'm looking at. Probably the biggest diameter around's about 8 inches, so get a bit of variety. Anything from 3 inches diameter in spindles to 8 inches, maybe cut into rough blanks and sealed.
Hey, that cypress that you gave me, Sid, did you cut the whole tree down or did you just cut the burnt bit down?
So that was a tree that was pushed down on the vineyard I was managing, and when I moved to this block, I brought it with me, and we had a bonfire with it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but I've got cypress out the front, growing here with some dead branches on it, so I'm going to get into that as well. So if you would like a bit more cypress, I can bring some up too, probably.
Yeah, I was talking to a naturalist, and they were very interested in the leaves, like the growing leaves. So,
yep. For what, actually having green leaves,
yeah,
or just interest for identification purposes?
No, they wanted it for like rubs and stuff like that, you know.
Oh yeah.
I reckon there was medical natural stuff in there that was good for the body. So,
well, it certainly smells like it could be good for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been making, Steve?
What's Anthony said? He freehand sharpens and drags his lathe outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed all his videos are outside, out in the nice sunshine.
I actually tried turning.
I have been watching. Yeah.
I used to take one lathe out on the forklift occasionally when it was a nice day. But the problem is the bloody wind always blew the dust back in my face. So
That's like when you're out with a chainsaw cutting wood rubber. It doesn't matter which way you have the wind. It still seems to blow the sawdust back in your face.
oh, that's right. Yep, definitely.
There's your sort of cartoon the other day said describing someone's superpower, and the picture was there was a campfire with 4 logs around it, and whichever log he was sitting on was where the smoke was going.
Yeah.
His superpower.
No, he hasn't heard of that then, has he? Pointing towards it so as it goes away from you.
Oh, is that what you do?
Yeah.
He's the heaviest breather.
That's what we used to tell all the scouts. All you got to do is just point at it. Now, if you all point at it, the smoke's going to go up.
Rex, shipping's less if you say it's a gift. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I know they tightened up on. I know they tightened up on all the bloody GST and everything.
They've got a panel that's about 3 feet long at the post office, and it's got all different sizes in it. And if your parcel doesn't fit in any of them sizes, then it's going to cost you through the bejeevers. But if it fits through one of those sizes, then that's what you pay. That's how it works.
There's a weight limit on it though, isn't there, Jay?
Yeah, and that
can't
comes
be
down
over
to it
20
as well.
kilos.
Yeah.
Oh, well, all you can do, Steve, is just try it.
Yeah.
Put it in a brown paper bag of sawdust. If you're unsure about it.
Or put it in the microwave and dry it quicker or something like that.
Well, it depends on how thick it is. That's the problem.
Or get an old bar fridge or something like that and put a light in the bottom of it and dry it like that. Mm-hmm.
No, it depends. Yes, you can, Rex. You can ship wood to Australia. That's not a problem. It's not allowed to have any foliage on it. Not allowed to have bark on it, as far as I can remember.
It's got to be kiln dried, doesn't it?
No.
No.
But if you have a look on the Australian Customs site, if you just type in importing wood Australia, it'll come up with what's actually necessary to be done. Yeah, there's a radiation as well. That's right, Darren. And other treatments as well. Are you in lockdown over there at the moment, Steve, or not? I have no idea, Darren, whether it'll change it or not. No, right. Just in case you don't know, Steve's from over in Mandurah in Western Australia. All right, well, I might call it a night. I think it's 10:15, so...
Yeah, no, it's been a good night, Robbo.
Yeah, it has been. Thank you for earworming.
Thanks.
Appreciate
And
it.
thanks to everyone for coming in and engaging with us. That makes it interesting as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, and don't forget to hit the like button, folks.
Yeah, I did. No worries, guys. Thanks all for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I'll let you know what's happening as far as other ones go. All right. About to end.
Good night, everyone.